they look at like dark spots on the sun. So you'd initially think, oh, maybe that's because there's less radiation given off. It turns out because of the magnetic fields going on in there, the sunspots actually emit more radiation. And so if there are fewer sunspots, we're receiving less sunlight from the sun. And so you would expect to see a continual decline in temperatures, that things might get colder over the next 10 or 15 years.
According to the New American, more and more scientists believe this lower solar cycle could spark a lengthy period of minimum solar activity, leading to cooler temperatures on Earth. It's happened before. From the mid-1600s to the early 1700s, the sun experienced a period of low solar activity known as the Maunder Minimum. It corresponded to a time on Earth known as the Little Ice Age.
We know from historic records, and these are very early observations of the sun, that there were very few of these sunspots for a very long period, from about 1650 until 1715. And this particular period of low solar activity also correlates with a period where the climate, at least in most of Europe and in other places of the world, was very cold.
So what they noticed is, primarily in Europe, where they were taking a lot of these measurements, what they found is that the temperatures were really cold.
It was also very cold in North America. Colonial art often shows deep snows and ice-filled rivers during the winters. Zwerig says the bottom line is if the sunspot activity continues to drop off, we're going to experience cooler weather for a while. Mark Martin, CBN News.
I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, during the last 50 years, we've probably had one of the most benign weather situations you can imagine. And crops have gone into surplus. We have surpluses of rice, surpluses of wheat, surpluses of corn, and soybeans. But if this happens, there can be a lot of freezing. The North American climate where we live will not be as benign. Crops will not be able to grow like they have been. That means you're talking about famine, you're talking about a lot of people being hurt. But all this business about global warming is going out the door right now, because it's not fossil fuels that's causing the problem, it's the sun, that great big ball that controls our solar system. And if we have a 200-year low of sunspot activity, that means a lot of freezing, a lot of ice, and we'll be so grateful that there's some coal or oil or natural gas available to heat our dwellings. So keep in mind, but the Lord spoke about the time before he comes back there'll be famine. Well, then this could be a time of famine because there won't be enough grain to feed this huge population we have right now. So we're talking about serious business, but it's going to happen. And so those who are running their whole political game has to do, I'm taking care of global warming. Well, believe me, it's going to be freezing cold, and the Maunder Minimum is coming upon us, and we're looking at an ice age, not global warming. So just keep that in mind. Well, in other news, game over. That's what the president tweeted after past comments from John Bolton resurfaced. John Jessup has the latest from our CBN News Bureau.
And Pat, now on the last day of questioning in the impeachment trial of President Trump, the fight over witnesses seems to have shifted in the favor of Republicans, with growing confidence that at least 51 senators will vote against calling former National Security Advisor John Bolton and others. The president weighed in, tweeting, "Game over," after a new video surfaced showing Bolton talking about Ukraine policy, but not saying anything about an improper quid pro quo. The vote to call witnesses is then scheduled for tomorrow. If it fails, the Senate will vote to vote for a final vote on impeachment charges. Yesterday, President Trump's defense team argued even if there was a quid pro quo, he did nothing that rises to an impeachable offense.
If a president does something which he believes will help him get elected,